afternoon, everyone. Thank you for logging into this month's webinar session. This webinar is brought to you by the Belize Hotel Association in collaboration with Believing.com. We have a wonderful presentation for you all. Our presenter for this webinar is Rashid Giravan from Yellow, and he will be giving you all a beginner's guide to PPC ads and some top 2020 trends for PPC. Before we get started, we have a couple of announcements from both Alicia and myself. So recently, Believing.com has launched a new podcast series called the Belize Travelcast, and we currently have some sponsorship and advertisement packages available. If you are interested, please feel free to click on this offer that I'm going to publish or email podcast@believing.com if you have any questions. For now, I'd like to pass it on to Alicia for some BHA membership announcements.
Hi, thank you, Angela, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for registering for this afternoon's webinar. Just want to remind everyone that we currently are offering a 10% discount if you would like to renew your membership with us. And for anyone that would like to join and be a new member of BHA, we're also offering that 10% discount. So you can either contact myself or Penny at membership@belizehotels.org. So I would like to welcome Rashid once again this afternoon for this webinar, and we look forward to a wonderful presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Jamaica. I'm very happy to be here with you all this afternoon. As mentioned, I'm the digital manager with Yellow Media Group. I don't know if you say Happy Ash Wednesday there. We are actually celebrating Ash Wednesday here in Jamaica, and we don't have offices open today. So, but I'm very happy to be joining you in order to go over the PPC, pay-per-click advertising. This is a very important area of digital advertising. And I'd like to start by going over a few features, some of the main benefits really of pay-per-click advertising. And one of the main things is to say that pay-per-click offers you free impressions. Digital advertising has come a very far way. And one of the main attributes of digital advertising versus traditional advertising is that it is a lot more cost effective. With pay-per-click advertising, it is safe to say that you pay for your ads when they actually work. In other words, when your ad becomes compelling enough to excite the imagination of the viewer, that is when you're actually going to pay for that advertising. It's very useful in driving conversions and influence consumer purchase behavior. And it is very useful in ensuring that the leads that you generate are actually strong leads. I'm going to go over a little bit more of this, but I like to put into perspective the marketing funnel, because one size doesn't fit all. Pay-per-click advertising nor traditional advertising, whether it is billboards or on TV or radio, no one form of advertising really and truly is going to be the holy grail. The traditional marketing funnel suggests that the potential customers, your leads, will go through a process whereby they become introduced to your products, ultimately converting to making a purchase, and hopefully you operate a business where you will have repeat business, and so you'll have retention and multiple purchases being made. Now, no single form of advertising will cater to the entire gamut of digital of the purchasing funnel. Digital marketing has a number of different facets. Many businesses, especially in the Caribbean, from my experience, seem to associate digital marketing with primarily centered around social media ads. Right here. Social media is but one aspect of digital advertising. And of course, you have things like LinkedIn, which is a platform for professionals, Facebook, the ubiquitous platform that is available everywhere, Twitter. More recently, you have YouTube emerging as one of the major social media platforms, TikTok also becoming very popular. But social media by itself is not the sum total of digital. Where we have pay-per-click advertising is another very important aspect of digital. Also, you have your content and your website. If you are interested in generating strong leads and having those leads go down the purchasing funnel to from awareness to engagement to discovery to the purchase, then what you will find is that different tools will become available. What do I mean by that? There are different tools that cater to the different stages of the purchasing funnel. We have what are known as top of funnel marketing tools, middle of funnel marketing tools, and bottom of funnel marketing tools. Because no one type of advertising will cater to the entire gamut, the entire funnel in its entirety. Search ads and social ads tend to have a wide cross section, but in general, search ads tend to focus on middle of funnel activity. And that is to say, it is trying to generate interest and consideration. It helps to generate intent, middle of funnel activity, in order to ensure that the leads that are being generated are qualified and are actually interested in making that sale. That takes us to pay-per-click or PPC advertising, which is why we're here today. Pay-per-click advertising is speaks to a model that is used for things like search engine marketing and Gmail ads. Pay-per-click advertising, in its broader sense, can be used to describe some forms of video advertising. SEM, or search engine advertising, takes place on the search engine, as the name suggests. Now, Yellow, we are partners with Google, and so we primarily focus on Google as the number one search engine. But of course, there are other search engines available, for example, Bing. And in a nutshell, how search engine marketing works is the visitor, the public, the potential lead will enter keywords in Google in order to ask Google for something. So in this instance, the keyword will be hotel in Belize. The keywords here are hotel and Belize. It means that if you are operating a hotel, you would want to be present when this person is searching for hotel in Belize. You wouldn't want to be present if they're looking for a hotel in another geographic location, which is why the location targeting is so important. And you wouldn't want to be appearing for something like healthcare or taxi in Belize because you're dealing with a hotel. So both of these are important. What is important to realize is that each keyword, now these are not actual costs, but each keyword will have different costs associated. For example, the keyword hotel may cost $1, while the keyword Belize, on the other hand, will cost 45 cents or 50 cents, as the case may be. Another geographic location, Jamaica, for example, may have a keyword cost for the location of $1 or $2. It all depends. Now, it depends on what Google determines as the cost, because that is part of Google's algorithm. When these words are typed into Google, it will trigger an ad. You know it's an ad because, as you can see, in the top right-hand corner, you see the word ad. And Google will always identify that these are ads. It means these people are paying to be at the top. Traditionally, the heat signature and research would have shown that when results appear on what you call the SERP, the search engine result page, this is the search engine. And so on the result page, the results that appear towards the top are usually highest, and they become very frequently selected by the searcher. When persons click on this ad, it will take the advertiser to the website. The advertiser will pay only when the keyword which triggers the ad is typed into Google, and that is the only time that your budget is impacted. In the simplest of terms, that is pay-per-click advertising. If nobody clicked on any of these ads, then your budget would not be affected. Hence, your ad would appear online for free. Goes back to the point we were making earlier when we said that you get free impressions. A free impression simply because if nobody clicks on the ad doesn't work, then your ad will, your message, you have a free impression. The client would have read a little bit information about your product, but it wouldn't cost you anything. And that is one of the great things about PPC, or pay-per-click advertising. For Gmail, most people will want to be able to engage with viewers at various points in the shopper journey. Many hotels want to focus on persons who are interested in trying to find a vacation, researching a vacation, researching flights, trying to identify people who are interested in travel in order to enter, to get those people to enter the purchasing funnel by, first of all, awareness. If you have a hotel in Belize and you want to increase the number of guests to your property, the first step must be for more people to become aware that your hotel, one, first of all, exists, and some of the features and benefits that your hotel offer versus other properties. One of the ways that you're able to do that is to inject yourself, for example, in the person's email. Gmail ads allow you to have an ad in the customer's email without you actually knowing that person's email address. So what will happen is you will be able to tell Google that I'm interested in people who travel a lot or are currently doing research on hotel or vacation destinations. This is why I did this screenshot yesterday. These two hotels are targeting me because I happen to be looking for vacation destinations for Easter in another couple of weeks. And so what Google recognized is that I have been receiving emails from Expedia, and I've been receiving emails and quotes from various hotel destinations. Hence, these two hotels in Jamaica are targeting me. These are ads appearing in my Gmail account from Rio. Both of these are all-inclusive hotels, and they're trying to get me to consider them in my decision-making process. This is in the promotions tab of my Gmail, above the coupons that are sent from the various promotions that I get. As it is now, both of these hotels, both the Royal Decameron and Rio, opens up still in my Gmail, and this is now telling me that Rio is an all-inclusive hotel in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and it's trying to tell me that they've been recently upgraded with, pools and bars and as the case may be. This still is in Gmail, at which point I can select visit site, and I would be redirected from my Gmail ad to Rio's website. But in the terms of what this advertiser pays, Rio only pays. I'm seeing a chat here where it says the voice is breaking up. Oh no. Is it better now? Not hearing. Test, are you able to hear me now, Diana? Somebody said they were disconnected. Freddie, are you able to hear me? Diana says yes. Anthony says it's better.
Hi,
okay.
Rashida. We can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So Rio, as an advertiser, would pay once. Only when I click on this ad in order to get more information, which is still within the Gmail platform, trying to ensure that they give me enough information to entice me to visit site. When I click the visit site, Rio doesn't pay any more or any less, but I, as a customer or a potential customer, would be further down the purchasing funnel because I would be captured by the visuals, the features, the benefits that Rio has to offer during this this for my vacation. This is another way for pay-per-click advertising, a more ingenious way of using that type of advertising. If I never select Royal Decameron, they would have still received free advertising simply because I am now reminded that this hotel exists. I'm still reminded that they are available to be considered when I'm trying to choose my hotel destination. But until I click on it, they never pay anything. Similarly, with search engine marketing, which also uses pay-per-click or PPC advertising, if I never click on these ads, the advertiser would never pay anything. Now, the question is, if nobody clicks on the ad, does it really make sense? Well, and there are many schools of thought on this, but one of the things to remember is that on the first page of Google, there is a finite number of search results that may become present. Now, if you are paying to be there, you're guaranteed to occupy one of those top spaces, which means there is one less space that is available for a competitor. So there are many direct and implied benefits for not only search engine marketing, but certainly pay-per-click advertising. I want to get into a little bit about the budget. How does PPC work? Well, unlike regular display or banner advertising, now banner advertising, just so you know, it uses not a cost per click model, but instead CPM. And CPM here refers to cost per thousand. So when you're using banner ads will go out in mobile apps or on websites, etc. And once the ad appears on a website, it accounts and your budget is used up. For PPC or pay-per-click advertising, including search engine marketing that we just described on Google or in the Gmail ads, if nobody clicks on your ad, then you don't pay. You start off by identifying a budget, usually on a monthly basis. So just for ease of example, I want to use a monthly budget of $300. And let us say that you agreed with your digital marketing provider that you're willing to spend no more than $300 for the month. And there are 30 days in that month. That would work out to an average of $10 per day. Now you can choose to modify your budget to say, well, I don't want to advertise on weekends, so it's more money during the week, or I want to focus more money on weekends, as the case may be. But just for ease of argument, you have a daily budget of $10. Bearing in mind that different keywords have a different cost. I used the example earlier whereby you have the keyword hotel would cost, for example, $1, but the term Belize or restaurants or conference room, whatever other keywords that you choose to use, would have a different value, and that is determined by Google. And so what we have here is different keywords will have a different cost, resulting in multiple keywords that take up the budget. Now, as these different costs accumulate, and a keyword that costs, for example, 15 cents. When somebody clicks on that, remember it's pay-per-click. So when somebody clicks on that keyword that costs 15 cents, your $10 daily budget would be reduced by 15 cents. And that would continue until your entire daily budget is used up, at which point your ads will no longer appear for that day. The following day, which a new daily budget of $10 will come into play. The question is, though, what happens if your entire daily budget is not used up? In an instance like that, it rolls over to the following day. The point I want to make is that during the day, different keywords with the various costs will contribute to different accelerated usage of the daily budget. And so you want to ask yourselves this question. We started out by talking about conversions down the purchasing funnel: awareness, consideration, intent, purchase. What keywords are most important to generate a strong enough lead that will result in a sale? Now, when you get that lead who have expressed interest in your business, then you want to encourage those keywords more and more. Because if you're spending $10 every day, you want to maximize that the number of clicks, the number of leads you generate from that $10 spend. This is one of the times when definitely spending less to get qualified leads, that is always better. In understanding pay-per-click, you also have to understand that you can target different locations. Here it is. So I've done a fair amount of work with different businesses in Belize, including hotels and restaurants and various properties. And from my research, I know that a significant number of visitors to Belize are coming from Texas, from Florida, from the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, etc., and from California. This is not to say that these are the only geographical areas that will generate visitors to Belize, but definitely, from my experience, these are some of the more interesting areas. It therefore means that when you're doing your digital ads, you want to be able to focus on these geographic areas, because you know that historically, these areas would have resulted in your guests, and you want to focus on the higher probability areas. Similarly, if you want to focus on only in Belize by itself, you can geo-target different areas, different districts, whether you're focusing on, whether it is Cayo or wherever, Belize City. You can target different geographic areas in Belize itself, in case you're not looking to target international visitors. Last time I was there I think it was November last year, I met with a property, and they were brand new, and so in order to capitalize for Christmas, they said to me, I don't necessarily want to focus on the international market right now. What I want to do is to generate some business. Even though the local Belizean will not spend as much necessarily as a North American customer, I still want them to come experience the property. I can get reviews, get their opinions, and it helps us to fine-tune and improve the property. And so rather than focusing on a US or Canadian market, we used digital marketing to focus on Belize to get locals to come in during the Christmas season. And for that year, for that time period, that strategy was appropriate. Um, Another thing you want to remember is that different keywords will focus on different areas of the business. Some hotels will have, for example, an excellent restaurant. And so while you may not be able to have a guest there, you have, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 rooms, while not everybody is going to stay there, you still want guests who are staying at neighboring properties to come to your location for dinner or breakfast for that matter. And so one of the keywords that you want to focus on is restaurant. Another thing is conference facility, if that is one of the profit areas that you want to focus on. If you want to differentiate yourself by saying that this is a luxury resort, an all-inclusive resort. I'm not sure if you have too many all-inclusive resorts there in Belize, but certainly if you don't have an all-inclusive resort and you do not want to be, you don't want to appear for when somebody types in all-inclusive, what you could do is to say, I want all-inclusive to be a negative keyword. In so doing, if anybody types in all-inclusive, you're guaranteed not to appear for that search so that you don't waste your money. You'll never appear for that. Another thing is, for example, the keyword cheap. If you are operating a luxury resort and you know that based on your price positioning, you are not in the cheap end, then clearly you want to use the keyword, for example, cheap room, as a negative keyword to ensure that because it is pay-per-click, you're never going to appear when somebody types in that keyword. When you're coming up with your list of keywords, my advice to my customers usually is, what are the terms, what are the words, what are the features that you want to promote? And those features are what we will include when we are crafting and developing the ads. What comes after you engage in a PPC campaign? Well, one of the things that digital marketing and digital advertising allows is that you're able to measure action. You're able to measure performance. And so, what is the desired action after the customer clicks your ad? You must be acutely aware of the shopper journey, the next steps that you want your customers to engage in. So, for example, in the for the scenario with Rio, in my Gmail, Rio wanted me to visit their website, and having visited their website, they want to focus on the features that they think are their strongest attributes. They started the conversation by saying they have, I think it was 7 pools, 5 restaurants, whatever it is. Those features they think will help me to make a decision to choose that property over all others. If I am on Rio's website, what do they want me to do next? Chances are the next step is to check for availability or to contact them directly by sending them an email or opening a chat to say, hi, my name is Rashid. Do you have availability for X, or inquire about price? But usually the next step is to start the conversation. What do you want your customers to happen next? Because remember, digital marketing is not a one size fits all. PPC is not the only type of digital advertising and is not going to just result in an automatic sale right away. If you are in Belize and you're in the mountains and you want someone to choose you because you're in the mountains, then clearly you would not include words like beach access or anything related to beach on your website, and you would not select those keywords. Having selected the hiking and the birding and whatever other keywords that you want to include, what do you want the customer to do next? Usually, it is to either reach out to you or you be able to capture that information so you can in turn reach out to them and continue the conversation whereby you are moving them down the purchasing funnel. Is your website ready and able to receive those leads? Do you have a mechanism in place to capture those leads, having paid for it? Because remember, what you would have done is to pay for the click. Having paid for the click, are you able to utilize, make best use of those leads, including the shopper journey? What are the different ways to improve your PPC campaign? Well, we alluded to this earlier, but you must be able to track and monitor your cost to ensure that you are getting the best value for money. Cost in this instance will refer to either it is the cost per click or the cost per keyword. There are times when you have a cost per view if you're advertising using video. Whatever you're paying, what is the cost that the cost per lead, and two, is that cost too high or is it affordable? One of the ways that you can determine the ROI, let me just go back to this slide right here, is to recognize that in your campaign, you are going to have different keywords with different costs. If you can get more 15-cent keywords that convert, then chances are you'll be better off getting more 15-cent keywords than spending $1.50 for that keyword, because you're going to get much less. With a daily budget of $10, you're going to get much less leads, much less clicks for $1.50 versus what you'd have spent for 15 cents. So over the life of your campaign, so cost is one of the main areas. Also, the cost will lead directly into budget. Is your budget too small? We used the example earlier of $300 a day. And sorry, I beg your pardon, $300 a month. And that would translate to $10 a day. If the geographic area that you're focusing on is huge, is that $300 for the month big enough? Is that a big enough spend? For example, in Florida, there are about 21 million people. In California, there are 40 million people. It stands to reason, therefore, that you wouldn't be able to use the same budget to target Florida as you would California, simply because there's twice as many people in California as there is in Florida. Therefore, the budget must reflect that difference in the population size. And so the cost profile of your PPC campaign is something that will directly correlate to the success or failure of that campaign. As is the location. The ID location that you're targeting must have some sort of track record of generating interest in your product or service that you have to offer. We know that people are coming in from Texas and Florida. Either it is because they have a direct flight coming in from these locations, or based on your research, you're collecting information about your guests. You would have known that visitors are coming in from these states or these cities. Therefore, it stands to reason that if you were to target these cities with advertising, you would be targeting places where with a proven track record of visiting visiting your country and your location. Another way to improve the performance of your PPC campaign is to measure the conversion. You want to increase the total number of people who interact with your pay-per-click ads. And part of that is to, again, not only optimize the amount that you're willing to spend in terms of the budget, or to optimize the keywords that you're using, the more expensive versus less expensive keywords. But another way to look at it is, what is the ad actually saying? If you have an ad and it is not capturing enough clicks, then my advice to you is to review the ad, because it could possibly mean that your ad is not reaching, is not communicating, is not resonating enough with your potential target audience. And so the conversion rate, what we call the click-through rate, or CTR, the click-through rate is an important measure to be able to ensure that your pay-per-click campaign is working properly. And of course, the keywords. We spoke about that already. Another way that PPC is now, this is not cost per click, because a video is not necessarily clicked, but it's actually view. The cost per view is another in the family of PPC, right? That is when you have an ad, for example, on YouTube or in a mobile app. In my downtime, I play a fair amount of Candy Crush. And one of the things in that app, even though it's an app, a game on my mobile phone, I am able to watch a video and I will get bonuses, whether it is coins or a free life or whatever it is. And one of the things about it is, it's let us say a 30-second ad appears. If I don't watch that ad in its entirety, I will not be able to get my bonus life. And therefore the advertiser will not pay if the view time watched is not in its entirety. So I, as the player of that game, am motivated to ensure that I watch the video in its entirety so that I can get whatever reward I'm looking for. That is another way of PPC, but in this instance, it is cost per view. As digital advertising evolves and it becomes more popular, it will become more popular because not based only on the unique areas that advertisers come up with, but the strength of digital advertising is hinged, it's pivoted, it is directly related to the amount of time people spend on their digital devices consuming digital content, whether it is videos or reading the news or checking emails or whatever number of other things that are done on digital. And social media, of course, is another platform that accounts for significant time spent on digital. And there are a myriad of ways to advertise on social media, that we won't go into today. But most of those are based on a CPM model, a cost per thousand, or visibility of the ads, not necessarily on a PPC model. And so, what I say to you is, while the digital marketing becomes more fragmented, focusing more on whether it is emails, using a lot more images, capitalizing on the use of video, capitalizing on things like search, capitalizing on people's downtime in mobile apps, capitalizing on the social network aspect of usage of digital. You as an advertiser would want to look at the various channels that are available, but the channel alone is not enough. What that channel will be able to bring to you is really where you will make a difference and take full advantage of the digital channel. Ensure that your platform, whether it is your website or your social media page, is able to make full use of that lead by either capturing that lead's data, their contact information, and trying to create dialogue with that new lead in order to get them more aware of the product or service that you have on offer, ultimately with a view to getting them to convert. In closing, one of the final things I'd like to say is that pay-per-click advertising and digital advertising in general allows you the ability to optimize based on price, based on budget, based on location, and you should take advantage of these areas for improving the campaigns and optimization to ensure that you are getting the maximum return on your advertising investment, and you're using it to effectively grow and benefit your business. I know that it's now it's 3:50 my time, which is 2:50 your time. I may have gone over a little bit over my allotted time. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. Are there any questions?
Okay, so thank you for that presentation, Rashid. It was very informative, and I hope that everyone watching wrote down some good notes so they can make use of it in their PPC advertising efforts. If you have any questions for Rashid at this time, feel free to enter it in the chat. I'm sure that, okay, we have one question.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Abner said, if I'm getting a lot of free impressions but no clicks, could that have any negative effect on my ad quality since it will affect the CTR? In other words, is there a point where free impressions is not such a good thing?
Absolutely. Um, Free impressions is good only to a point, because if your ad is usually, for example, using the search engine marketing, which is on Google, you are restricted to the amount of information that you're able to communicate in that ad. Using Gmail, for example, what you're trying to do is to get the customer to move from their inbox to click on your ad and get more information about your offer in video. Viewing the video for less than the 5 or 15 seconds means that enough information is not being communicated to the client. And so while the free impression is good to the extent that they become now aware of your name, it is not as good as if you were communicating the entire offer. Because if you were able to communicate the entire offer, now you're further down in the purchasing funnel. Free impressions by itself is more top of funnel activity. It deals with awareness. If you wish, I could go back to that slide. Right. So here we are. Free impressions gets you here. When they click on your ad from search or Gmail, it becomes that you're getting more information to be communicated, and so you're further down the purchasing funnel, closer to purchase. And so, yes, there is a point where free impressions is not necessarily the best thing, because at the end of the day, where you want to get them is in that sweet spot for purchasing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. We have a couple more. This one is from Sam. How do we know what the cost of words are?
Okay, so the cost per click, your digital advertising partner will be able to give you that information from research. Alternatively, if you're running ads by yourself, for example, the Google Keyword Planner will be able to tell you what the cost of the various keywords are. But so it does require some amount of research, and you will be able to get your tools, starting with the Google Keyword Planner.
Okay, we got a few more too as well. We have one from Annalisa. She's asking, where can we find the words and their cost?
Right. So that is the same thing. Google Keyword Planner is a very good place to start.
Okay.
No, but the thing about it is this. In terms of, you can find the cost in the Keyword Planner, but what areas of your business do you want to promote?
Mm-hmm.
You may say everything, but so one of the things I want to say to you is, in the face of a limited budget, what areas, what profit centers do you think is the biggest area for improvement? I have in my hotel, for example, 60 or 70% room occupancy, which is okay. I'm okay with that. But my restaurant is now operating at 40% capacity. It therefore means you could do a campaign to promote your restaurant. Or if you have, for example, conference room facilities, or and something else at your location that would generate additional revenue. If coming closer to the busy period, you realize that your reservations is not where it should be for your rooms, then you switch out the keywords from focusing on restaurants and focusing on conference rooms, and you focus on your room, the room part of your, or accommodations part of your business, simply because that is now the strategic imperative for your business. So you are able to change the keyword as time goes by and as the need changes.
Okay, and we have another one from Miss Julia. She's asking, what would be a reasonable budget to start a PPC campaign?
Okay, that's actually a very good question, and it comes back to this. It comes back to doing the research, Ms. Julia, to find out what is the cost of the keywords. Are you focusing on keywords that cost 15 cents, or you look focusing on keywords that cost $1? A large part of that consideration is where you're targeting. What I can promise you from my experience is that um, uh, the cost, let us say the cost, the word hotel, the cost of the keyword hotel in Belize is going to be much less than what the same keyword hotel costs in Florida. It's going to be different from what the keyword hotel costs in New York and different. So it does depend on the location that you're targeting. It depends on the keyword that you're using. I'm sure you can appreciate it depends on the time of year as well. Because in November or December, when it is peak period, arguably now in February it's still peak period because North America is very cold, and a lot of people are looking for vacation outside of North America. I'm sure you can appreciate that your room rates would be much more expensive in peak period than it is in an off-peak period. Similarly, the cost of the keywords will vary based on the demand. So to answer your question, it does depend on a number of factors to determine the budget. That's something that would be able to assist you with to ensure that you're getting the right reach. But some of the questions that we'd ask certainly is geographic location for targeting, keywords that you want to use, time of year would play an impact, and then the other thing is what is your capacity? If you have a hotel with 40 rooms and you have an occupancy of 40% or 30%, it means that you have a number of rooms that you need to fill. That campaign needs to be more aggressive than another hotel with the same 40 rooms, but they have many more higher occupancy of 60%. They have less rooms to fill, and therefore the person with more rooms to fill needs to have a more aggressive advertising budget. Does that make sense?
Okay, so we have one more question. It's from David. He says, in your experience for a hotel in Belize during November to April, what is a realistic budget for a 20-room hotel?
Okay. And again, so if for a 20-room hotel, we, for example, the strategy would be to target I would have to ask you this question. Do you know where most of your customers are coming from? Are they locals or are they coming from North America? If they're coming from North America, what state do you know are they coming from? Is it that they're coming from Texas or Florida or New York? Or so these are some of the questions I'd have to ask. And then I would make a recommendation for a budget. But in general, I would say if you were to squeeze my arm to give you a price, I would say about maybe $1,000 US per state in the US, between $1,000 to $1,500.
Okay. All right. So I hope that answers your question, David. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to enter them now so Rashid can answer them. I guess in the meantime, we wait for any additional questions. I'd like to thank Rashid for that presentation. We really appreciate you taking out the time from your day and giving us this presentation. It was very helpful, and I do hope that everyone has listened, has found it useful. I'd like to also reiterate what I had mentioned in the beginning about Belize Travelcast. We are now streaming on all major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. If you want to learn more about our packages for sponsorships and advertisements, please feel free to email us at podcast@believing.com, or you can just click this offer that I'm about to publish. I also want to remind all BHA members that our new blog theme for the month of March is Easter Vacation in Belize. So if your property is offering any specials during the Easter time or any interesting adventures or activities to this occasion, then feel free to write a blog about it, describing your experiences, and send that over to Alicia or Miss Penny at marketing@belizehotel.org or membership@belize.org. Um, I believe we also the BHA also has an early bird
Discount.
membership discount for
Mm-hmm.
all non-members who want to join the BHA.
And
If
for
you are
members as well, Angela, who wants to renew their membership.
Yes, yes. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are interested or you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Alicia or Miss Penny to ask your questions. To become or take advantage of this early bird offer, then you can click this offer that I published here. Are there any other questions?
Um, no more questions.
I don't see any other questions. Once
No.
again, I'd like to thank Rashid for taking out the time and giving us this wonderful presentation. I do want to let everyone know that you will be receiving a recording of this presentation by the end of today. And I believe Alicia will also be sharing the resources, which is the slides that Rashid used for today's presentation via email.
Yes, and
Um,
it'll also be uploaded on the member only section for our BHA members so they can use their username and password to log in and they can get the live webinar recording on the website.
Okay, that's wonderful. I guess for now, we're going to bid you goodbye and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you all for joining us.
All right,
And
thank you.
yes, all right, goodbye.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
Bye.